Republic of Congo is struggling to contain and treat Ebola. A key treatment center has reopened after being attacked last week. Doctors Without Borders was forced to leave the area, and the UN is now working with local doctors to help address the latest outbreak.
BBC News senior correspondent and deputy Africa editor Ann Soy is in the town of Beni, where officials are teaching rural communities about symptoms and the risks of Ebola.
Ebola hit this village hard. This family lost 10 members in a matter of weeks.
San Francisco Giants president and CEO Larry Baer is taking a leave of absence from the team. The decision comes after a video surfaced showing him engaged in a physical altercation with his wife. The video posted on TMZ Friday caught Baer's wife toppling to the ground after he reached for a cell phone in her hand.
So they don't have anything with Russia. There's no collusion. So now they go and morph into, let's inspect every deal he's ever done. We're going to go into his finances. We're going to check his deals. We're going to check. These people are sick. Unfortunately, you put the wrong people in a couple of positions, and they leave people for a long time that shouldn't be there. And all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with...
Offensive views expressed by a long-dead movie actor in an interview he gave nearly 50 years ago caused his name to be removed from an airport. That question has been raised about the John Wayne Memorial Airport in Santa Ana, Orange County, California, near Disneyland, 35 miles south of Los Angeles. In 1979, the airport was dedicated to the macho American icon, who was a local resident and had just died of cancer. Wayne starred in more than 150 films, more than half of them westerns. Nominated for 3 Oscars, he finally won for 1969's True Grit. But in this woke era that has seen the removal of Confederate statues, new attention is being paid to inflammatory quotes from Wayne's interview published in Playboy magazine, May 1971, like this one.
Welcome back. Well, so this morning we've got the story of 3 Ohioans who spent decades in prison for a murder they didn't commit.
They never gave up the fight to clear their names. And now they are sharing their lessons learned in hopes of shedding light on the damage of wrongful convictions. In November 2014, Ricky Jackson, Wiley Bridgman, and Kwame Ajamu made headlines when they were exonerated for the 1975 murder of a salesman at a Cleveland, Ohio convenience store.
There was such a tremendous feeling of relief and victory because we were right. We were right and they were wrong, and we survived.
Francis says the Roman Catholic Church should fight an all-out battle against sex abuse. He addressed nearly 200 bishops and senior leaders at the end of a 4-day meeting yesterday. The Vatican said it would publish a guidebook for bishops that will help them understand their duties and tasks on abuse. Nikki Batiste is in Rome with some disappointed reaction to this summit. Nikki, good morning.
Nora, good morning. We spoke with 3 clergy abuse survivors moments after they watched Pope Francis address a crowd Sunday right below me in St. Peter's Square. We have followed their fight for justice since last year, all the way from the U.S. to here in Rome. Today, they want to know why the Catholic Church has still not laid out concrete steps to stop child sex abuse.
Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Hello, and this is Black Minds News, which is Black Minds TV. I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this channel is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, articulate, relay, unveil, decode, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, websites, or quotes from publications. As I articulate these information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created the so-called greatest land in all of this planet, and all of this world, we give honor over here to our ancestors. And you know what my motto is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. once again, it's on. That's right, y'all. I took a little hiatus for a couple days because you know why? I'm working so hard behind the scenes that you would just not realize. And again, I want to first and foremost tell everybody, from subscribers, those who are trying to send me content to put onto the show, believe it or not, I see what you're doing. You just got to give me a little bit more time because, again, I'm working to get back onto the live shows, and then I will promote a lot of the stuff that you got. So I do got it saved up, so everything, you can keep sending it. I got you. I got this. I got this. Right? And so, first and foremost, I want to say what's good to the fam subscribers. Subscribers is my family out here. You support me in the way that you do by participating, by at least clicking on the video, sometimes giving me a like, sometimes giving me a dislike, right? It's all good, fam. Sometimes we have a situation where sometimes we just not in agreement. I don't expect you to agree with everything that I do. Again, it's just the content of the information that I get sometimes. Maybe something may not be of your interest, but I always try to aim to please. So welcome to you, subscribers, and new ones. Oh, I got to say something. Welcome to you, the new subscribers. Again, some of the stuff that I'm working in the background, some of that is matriculating in. So I want to thank you to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. I am more regular than you probably noticed since you've been here. I normally come on every day, but because, again, I'm trying to expand my brand, because, again, the way that they got me cut off over here on the YouTube channel, so I have to try to find other avenues to try to get my show expanded out. So my irregular aspect of the way that I've been doing the show is off schedule. I normally more daily, as a way, that's the way I promote, and I am. But again, I am doing, as you see on your screen, you see the logos for Instagram and Facebook and all those. That's because I am working in the background trying to get those all connected and getting everything in its right, proper order. Because again, the reason why you haven't seen any live shows due to the fact that I have been suspended for 90 days without any explanation or whatever reason. They went and found somebody to sort off about something that should have been a fair use. Well, that's their own. But anyway, let's move forward. Passerbyers, welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Welcome. Glad you stopped by. You know, over here we always have what we would call a grand opening. You know what grand opening is? You know, store just opened up, the doors is open. Go down the aisle, find something you like, go to our register, go up there, hit that like button. That'll be a payment. If you got a dislike, well, we can send the manager out to you. Maybe we can have a, conversation with you. Maybe we get you an IOU. We'll give you a discount for your next term of time. Next time we might be able to get a sale from you on your next return. So welcome by passing by. And agents, I'm figuring that out, man. You motherfuckers is out there spending my motherfucking number all out around here, huh? Okay. All right. So, again, it is like what I say. It was like he was over to a Hispanic party to have a pinata, put the blindfold on your eyes, get a dart in your hand, spin it around nowhere, no matter where you throw it on the map. It's always popping on this planet. And so, always something going on here in this place, what we call the United States. Again, this is most, the country that has such a history that sometimes, again, depending on what side of the coin you on, and me being a ADOS or BADOS, we always see it from the perspective from the ground looking up. So a lot of times some people cannot understand and say that we use certain aspects to try to make people seem like they're not what they is. And, when you shine a little light on it, you know how it is. Again, if you've been in darkness for a long period of time and then somebody shine a light over it, it kind of hurts your eyes to see. Right? You don't want to see the light. And so, again, it is incumbent on those of the black corner of the internet as part of this, what we call the black media, is to bring and espouse certain elements to bring some light to it. Because, again, if you don't, it just gets worse. Because, again, Jackler needs to see himself because, again, he don't believe what other people are saying. So since when you look in the mirror, you can't see your own reflection, so I guess it's incumbent upon the Creator to give us the power to put that light on that ass. So, Again, as being a black man in this nation, again, it seems like this is this onslaught of attack, right? That you see that they're parading men of certain status due to their God-given gifts, and now they're trying to just, making men break down and seem to just, again, teach his own, right? How you look at it, how you evaluate it. So what happens when you see from the other perspective, right? When you come from the other side, how they show Ray Rice, gave the woman a little thump in the elevator, knocked her out cold. Again, we don't condone it, but that's what took place. And then it was the big old I won't say scandal. It was publicized to the point of the man they ended up losing his career, and he has now been an advocacy man, makes him a better man again. But do some things really cost you at all expenses? And I guess it just depends on the severity of it and the way that people are taking it. Or was it the vitriol that was coming from the person that showed the in-depthness of where that spirit was coming from? And so then you shall get the penalty, right? So I seen this story here, and I was like, okay, I know, when black men, again, you don't, no matter what kind of status you have, when a phone call comes in, the po-po come to the house, and it's considered to be domestic. Well, I don't know how many times, unless they've been to your house more than once, and they kind of got a first name base with you, you might be able to explain your situation, and they may be like, all right, you go here, you stay here, and then y'all separate for a little, and then work it out how accordingly y'all need to do it. But if we come back again, somebody getting arrested, right? So that's how sometimes it goes when you're in the, when you on the black team, right? When on the black team, that's how it go. But rarely do we ever get to catch on the white team, on the, let's say, on the higher echelons of whiteness, to, get a peek in the window of things that normally would be considered to be the lower class, the lumpen proletariats, acting like animals. So they showed this, and I was like, okay, I called it. Let me go here and play a little taste and let you see it for yourself, and we shall be right back. So I guess it's gonna start right here. Let's see how we're gonna start the show tonight.
San Francisco Giants president and CEO Larry Baer is taking a leave of absence from the team. The decision comes after a video surfaced showing him engaged in a physical altercation with his wife. The video posted on TMZ Friday caught Baer's wife toppling to the ground after he reached for a cell phone in her hand. In a statement Monday, the Giants board of directors said it granted Baer his request for personal time away. Other Giants executives will now manage the team's day-to-day operations as Major League Baseball heads the investigation into the incident. Baer and his wife issued a statement Friday saying they regretted having a, quote, heated argument in public. He has issued an apology for the incident.
All right. So we see Larry Baer, man, got some pull. He got him kind of ownership of the San Francisco. And you know how it is in relationships, right? You know how it can be. It can spark off at any time due to some things that, again, that might have had already transpired prior to you being outside, right? So, maybe some things, how sometimes you get into those situations, maybe disagreeing with some things, and again, y'all had to go on leave, be somewhere. But you ain't really iron out what already had transpired, right? So you go ahead, you go outside anyway, somebody a little still hollering under the collar. Somebody a little bit more irritated. You sitting over there playing on your phone. And I'm like, what the fuck is on that phone over there? So more important than what the fuck I'm talking about, right? And so, you know how it is. Probably how they're ignoring stuff. You know how they say, somebody take the low road and just ignore. Some people are not built like that. You ignore them, that makes them entice even more. But again, it could have been some, what's all on this phone business. You know how these phones is kind of like a mind. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of got the secret compartments of what's really going on in your life. A lot of times it's all up in these phones. And so it seemed like being out in the public like that, for a minute they kind of forgot where they was. And the true nature of the situation kind of just, came out. And so again, You see my man go ahead, like try to take the phone wrestle route, you know what I'm saying, dance on the stress fall to the ground, help, help, help. And then somebody just happened to have a camera right on the spot. See, that's the thing about today. Everything is being really, you know, just recorded, right? It's it's kind of like with the Smollett situation when everybody was like the mystery, not can't see what transpired, and yet they had cameras. And rarely would you be able to do that in this 1984 INSOC in this again the 1984, right? You know, you got to find a little crevice area. What you doing? Come on, let me talk to you a little bit over here in this corner over here. Then you the dude, right? We don't condone violence over here, but I'm just saying, right? So again, color has nothing to do with it, but it seems like there's always, when this take place, there's always seem to be a people of color. See, even people with money, you understand? See, it has nothing to do with status and class. It's just the human aspect of things, right? People, you understand? Relationships. What do you do? Okay, think about it. Two people coming from two different situations, from different upbringings and different environments and different trying to merge each other to become one. There's parts of it where there's a smooth aspect, where there's the parts that are more compatible. Then there's the things that, again, we work out due to the simple fact that, again, you like red and I like blue, right? You like sweet, I like sour. So somewhere we got to come to some kind of happy medium, and as time go on, and they say time is the greatest healer of all things, and whatever happens is you start to slowly merge. But then it gets to the point that, maybe there's some things that just about you I just don't like. And, as time, some things, those get irritable. Sometimes the littlest things that might be irritating you can really tick you off. And so, again, we don't know all the ins and outs that what took place, but we see that there's a man that, again, that has some, so-called status, and I guess it's going to cost you, because, again, it being in the Me Too era. And as we go on this show, we got some things about that. And in the Me Too era, when the man and the woman gets into it, I guess the man is going to lose, right? And so he's already trying to step down and everything else. So it's already going to be one of those moments. So again, I guess in this case, it was something that I'm pretty sure they're not going to keep espousing. Also, again, it would be incumbent on Black Minds TV to go ahead and show you that, just in case you did not see it. See, even the rich ones get into the domestics. It ain't just the slaves, lumping proletariats. It's not just the helping the serfs. It's even massa in them gets into it too, right? So, how that is, y'all. Everybody know how that goes, right? It's just part of what the game is. Now, since we, again, we talking about color don't matter, right? When it comes to being domestic, right? I don't think there's no creed, no color, no age. There is no discrimination when it comes to that. Anybody can get it. You understand? Don't matter what type of relationship it is, it can go down. Now, again, the fabric of this nation, right? The fabric of it, right? I'm wondering if I should just go ahead and do that now. So I got something I want to play. I don't know if I should want to just go ahead and do that now and then get into the rest of it, just for the simple fact to give the foundation. Maybe I should do that, right? Maybe I should do that. Well, I'll do this first. Let me do this first, right? Let me go ahead and, again, what I do, Mr. Blows Your Mind, will do once in a while. Once in a while, I'll have to, again, do my little, what I call my, never mind. Let me go ahead and do this right here. All right. All right, so we're back. Got the little break right there. So you know how I got to do it. I got to set it up for you to do what I do. So I looked at this story here, and it's one of these stories again as we talk about the history of this land. Called it 1619 to 2019. They say it's 400 years, but again, it's a lot more than that. But that's where they want to start from the race, right? And so you know that again, the reason that you see that the corner that the builders rejected. I'm going to say that again. The corner that the builders reject is the black corner of the internet, and me being one of the most hated shows in the black corner of the internet. I say, well, you know, there's always a theme. What they call it the modus operandi, right? The mod, the M-O-D, the modus operandi, which is your M.O., how you get down. This is the pattern. If I want to study you, there will always be a pattern as to the way you move. And so some people will say that what you see, don't believe your lying eyes, right? A lot of people say, don't believe your lying eyes. That ain't what it is. See, you all guys are always making it up. Well, you know, there has been situation, again, those who've been reading, you see that what happened in the Covington situation. They're about to sue that, I think it's the New York Times, or the Washington Post for $250 million due to the simple fact they say defamation of the character of the individuals, and that the way they put the story out, that story in itself was not in its entirety. And so there was some fabrication and did some defamation on it. Okay, it's to its interpretation of the individual to feel if that's what they believe, right? So we can give you the benefit of the doubt. Again, that was not in its entirety. It was a different segments of it. It was different areas when that whole thing took place. So again, you may got a chance to actually try to pull that as a case, right? And again, they said that they got a bad rep, right? You know, again, they say, hey, you know, these were young kids, innocent, and it seemed like it was the big vulgar Negroes that was doing all the stuff that was enticing. Right, and then this Indian cat was here doing what he was doing. That wasn't right. So again, that was that situation then. Now, again, another situation has come up for those who may not have seen it. And, you know, I'm going to play it, right? Then I'm going to go ahead and read the story behind it, right, real quick. Let me play it first, right? Let me go ahead and play that. And because, again, you know, we don't want to misinterpret things, right? We don't want to misinterpret, right? We just have to take it for what you give it. Again, somebody had said that they said something about that racism has gone away. The only thing now that is just look like it's been more has been recorded. So I seen this story here, right? I'm gonna get it queued up so I'm gonna get everything going right. And let's do this and let's come on right back.
If we had the Holocaust, what would the world be like?
We would have white people now. All of the niggers would not be here.
Jews would run the world without the Holocaust. Fuck niggers, fuck Jews.
Jews are fine
if the Holocaust never happened, Jews would be running the world right now.
It's fine. We just need niggers gone. So
think about
mix
that.
Oreos.
Think about that.
What are you gonna do with them?
Awesome. You stick them in concentration camps.
No, you have to wait till they die off.
It's charging.
No, we run niggers because they do football for us and rap music, and we pay them for that.
No, they do nothing. Do you want to know what the fucking Democrat and like whole Republican?
How about we just kick out all the Democrats and we go on
niggers
strike?
That want to take white people's money who don't want to.
Says video shows Alabama high school students using N-word anti-Semitic slurs. You know I'm going to say that again. Video shows Alabama high school students using N-word anti-Semitic slurs. Now, this was done in the New York Post, was done March the 5th, 2019, and this is how it reads. It says, white Alabama high school students were caught using racist and anti-Semitic slurs in a disturbing video that has sparked an investigation by school officials. Without the Holocaust, what would the world be like? Says one boy in the video, which included students from both Hoover and Spain Park High School, located in the suburbs south of Birmingham, Alabama. .com reported. We would have white people still, the girl responds. All the niggers would be here, another teen chimes in. Fuck niggers, fuck Jews, another teen says. Jews are fine because they're white, the girl adds. We just need the niggers gone. The teen also referred to racially mixed people as mixed Oreos and talked about putting minorities in concentration camps or waiting until they die off. The father of one of the students in the video posted an apology for his daughter's actions on his business social media page. None of the other students in the video were publicly identified. Earlier today, a video was circulated on social media that depicted high school kids hanging out and saying some really horrible things. One of the kids you can hear talking is my daughter. We believe that in a moment she acted completely outside her character and certainly outside the morals and principles that we worked hard to instill in her throughout her lifetime, Gordon Stewart wrote the Hoover Toyota Facebook page. Our family, Mackenzie included, blatantly reject all forms of racism or bigotry, and the sentiments from the video do not accurately reflect her or her true feelings. This experience has proven to be a crucial lesson in her maturity, and she directly expressed her heartfelt apologies for her insensitivities, he wrote. School officials say they were investigating the incident despite it occurring off school property. Hoover Superintendent Kathy Murphy said she spoke with both Hoover and Spain Park High School principal, confirming the students are enrolled in the school system, AL.com reported. We have been made aware of a recently posted video that featured Hoover High School system students who appeared to be engaged in disturbing conduct, Hoover City Schools said in a statement. The activity apparently took place this past weekend at a private residence. Although it was not part of any school function, the conduct in question is, sorry about that, y'all, is in direct conflict with our school system values and its mission. Our school administrators are carefully investigating the situation in order to assess our options under the Code of Student Conduct. In the meantime, the Hoover school community may be assured the board, together with its administrative and instructional staff, remains steadfastly committed to maintaining and strengthening a school culture that encourages and embraces diversity, inclusiveness, and tolerance, the statement continued. Unique Simpson, a black student at Spain Park High School, suggests racist behavior is a problem at the school. Honestly, I'm so sick and tired of going through this same routine at Spain Park High School, Simpson said. I've been through so many personal experiences, she said. This needs to stop. All right, so as you see in the video, you're seeing that somebody decided to do, again, the naive thing is to take some of a situation like that, again, putting it out into the public so that it can be viewed to get the likes and maybe get a little cash on the side, right? But they saying everything that glitter ain't gold and everything ain't supposed to be put out there for everybody here. So we want to thank you for putting that video out there, because again, it just goes to show that again, that you may have one particular team at another school that look innocent and the blame is on everybody, Indian and the Negro. But in this case here, what do we have here? In the confines of the home, a bunch of Caucasians getting together. It seems like they might just having some conversation about getting some things off their chest. There's one little female Caucasian in there. It just seemed to be just going off the handle, like she just been holding this in for so long that she just needed to get it off her chest. So you heard all the things that you heard in the video, and it's kind of like, well, I guess that the proper thing for the parent was to do is to get the PR people to get out there and try to write something that would be trying to, you know, douse some water on the fire, get a fire extinguisher and try to douse it down, and then come with the cliches of saying about these is not our family values and morals, and it was not her character. But again, yes, I can understand that we don't take clips and try to make that to be the whole persona of an individual. But we have to ask yourself. It wasn't one individual in here who was just having their, again, what they would say, rant these days. It was seemed to be, other than the one that seemed to be laughing and recording, right? Everybody else was very opinionated and talking about concentration camps and fuck niggas and fuck Jews. And then it was kind of, well, hold on, wait a minute. We can't hate the fucking Jews because the Jews are white, right? You kind of think about that. They say I still, could anybody want to help me, can go in the comment section. I ain't quite sure. Matter of fact, I ain't going to tell what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I don't know. What is anti-Semitism, right? What is that? They say if you start saying things about a particular people that would be, again, slanderous and defamation, does truth fall under that? You understand? Can somebody true be considered to be anti-Semitic, or truth about a situation can be anti-Semitic? Because it seems like to be racist is black. I think the way I kind of look at that, anti-Semitic is not racist, it's anti-Semitic, right? Racist seem to be with black folks, right? And dealing with white folks is hatred, right? It's like everybody got their own category when it comes to it. Think about what I'm saying. So, you know, again, when you're young, yes, you'd say some crazy things, right? Hey, that's part of growing. Again, as in the article talks about maturity, right? But again, you have to ask yourself, in the day and age right now, we say high school. So we're going to just say at least 18 years old, right? We're going to give them 18 years old down about 14, right? So 18 minus in 2019 going to at least give you a millennium. They're going to be born in 2000. Even if you say 19, we'll give you 19. Yeah, a little slow. They're 19, right? So they born 2000. How is it that a child born in 2000 is speaking the way she's speaking? If you say this is, again, out of the characters and morals of what you teach. So then, is it we're saying that the birds of the feather that flock together? Is this where this, you know, influencing of this kind of rhetoric? Or is this just kind of like some of the, you know, the norms amongst the people, or association, or fraternization of what growing up and hearing certain things that maybe grandpa talk about, daddy talk about, grandma, you understand, history, whatever. You know, it could be a whole plethora of things when it comes to that, right? So we want to try to make it seem as there was an instant slip on the banana and the words fell out. Now, there was some heartfelt feelings coming out of the mouth of babes, as the Bible says, mouths of babes. And so out of the mouth of a baby was saying things that it seemed to have to be a little bit, had a lot of vitriol and feeling and bottled up, and like we need to basically boycott hip hop because we're paying them to say these things, and we need to do this, and maybe the world would be better off. Well, let's say, well, what would have happened if there would have been no Holocaust? And I would say it still would have been niggers, but we need to put them in the concentration camp, or just wait till they die off. I mean, where would you get that kind of conversation from? Where in the books that you read that you get that again, the way that they're kind of rearranging and redacting and whitewashing history. So how can somebody who's born in 2000 say the things that is coming out of the mouth like that? See, we want to act as if like these are not the foundational aspects of what this country is built on, right? And again, like I say, vampire, the Dracula don't like seeing a reflection in the mirror of itself. And then even when you look at the babies are the same way. So that just goes to tell me, again, if you said if it was a barrel and it had apples in it, and the first couple apples that I picked up are rotten, I'll have to assume that the whole barrel is rotten. Because then what you want you to do is go through the barrel and try to pick out the good from the bad. So from observation, after doing like a little survey, I would have to assume that majority. Now, I could be totally wrong looking in the barrel. But some people are not willing to go through all that to try to figure out. They just say, well, it's too many times I see the apple and it keep being spoiled, so I just have to say that the whole barrel must be. It's due to the simple fact historically and all the things that have been persistent. Again, people will try to shy it off and put it on the institution of government as if the government itself is just the institution, but it's run by certain people. And then we look at historically the people that has been the majority and the people who have been ruling. Then I guess it's just kind of down the alley of the way it always have been, right? And so I guess we have to kind of wait and see what's to transpire. It's already been 5 days, right? I guess this will go on again. Again, the anti-Semitism is in there. I mean, that's really double whammy, being racist and an anti-Semite is very heavy worthy. I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see this story on the circle and coming back and see what transpired from that. So again, let's continue on. Again, with the same thing as the modus operandi of how things operate, right? Right? So, okay, so, that was an incident. That was a single incident by some kids that might have had a couple beers. You know how Kevin all the time, beers. We just have beers, with beers. I have a little flatulent and some beers and we get wild and see, ain't nothing wrong with having a couple throwbacks, some cold ones, right? But again, it's the conversation that is being had, and we have to ask yourself, okay, we want to make these to be incidents, individuals. But again, the repetitiveness, again, as I said, that somebody had said, that Will Smith had said, that racism hasn't died. Racism is just now being recorded. And so, again, it's kind of like deja vu, but with a different individual every time. And so, again, how would you feel? Again, a lot of time, when we look at this country, and again, the heartfelt and the patriotism about what they believe, and how they said that the be all you can be is out here fighting for you. And, a lot of times some of our people go in there seeking to either take advantage of some of the benefits that come with it, or they really want to venture themselves and try to be a part of it. Again, to each his own. So when you see stories like this one, right? Once again, what is the modus operandi? That seems to be the theme. Even though they say that it would be the olders, but we're starting to see it in the babes. Well, what are you talking about, Mr. Blow Your Mind? Well, let me show you this and be right back. Let's try this. See how this works.
San Diego-based Marines now under investigation after posting a video that appears to show the two wearing blackface. 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco live at MCAS Miramar. And Rachel, some people are calling for the Marines to be kicked out of the military.
Yeah, Brian, many calling this conduct unbecoming of a Marine. Now, officials here at MCAS won't say if the two are stationed here at Miramar, but they confirm they are treating the matter seriously and an investigation is underway.
Blackface. Good morning, sir.
Two Marines appearing in uniform with their faces blackened. One of them then puts on his cap and salutes. According to KPBS, Zach Highfield posted the video on Snapchat. His Instagram page shows him in his Marine uniform.
My reaction is kind of like, here we go again.
Bishop Cornelius Bowser is a pastor at Charity Apostolic Church.
I was kind of like surprised that, even guys in the military would do this in their uniforms. Now, that's a shame right there, to do that way, to promote this type of racism and bigotry.
People on Twitter demanding the Marines get kicked out of the military. Bowser agrees.
We pay our tax dollars for them to protect and serve in our country, and this is not it right here. That kind of display, that kind of character should not be allowed.
A spokesman with the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing issued a statement that reads in part, 3rd MAW takes all allegations of discriminatory behavior very seriously as they stand in stark contrast of our core values of honor, courage, and commitment.
One of the concerns is like how we know that these guys, if he had to catch a black person's back, will he catch his back, and how deep does this go?
Highfield told a KPBS reporter the blackface is made of a charcoal mask used to clean pores. He said they didn't mean to offend anyone.
I believe they knew exactly what they were doing. I don't know if they were just looking for attention or they just thought they would get away with it, or maybe they wanted to be kicked out of the military. I don't know what their motive is behind doing this.
We tried calling the number for Highfield that was on his Instagram page. The voicemail was full and he did not respond to my text. Reporting live at MCIS Miramar, Rachel Bianco, 10 News.
All right, so it says Marines investigation after making blackface video. You know I'm going to say that again. Marines under investigation after making blackface video. This story was done in the Huffington Post, February 28, 2019. And this is how it reads. 2 Marines stationed near San Diego are being investigated after posting a video that appears to show them in blackface. In the footage, 2 men in uniform can be seen wearing black masks. One man says the word blackface, followed by hello monkey, and the other appears to salute the camera. This is Zach Highfield. He's a Marine who is proudly displaying his bigotry by wearing blackface in his military gear. The man behind him who says hello monkey hasn't been identified yet. Care to comment of this racist behavior? Zach Highfield, who appears in the video, told local station KPBS that he and the other Marine, who has not been identified, were wearing charcoal sheet masks used to clean pores. It looks a lot worse than it is, Highfield told the station, adding that he made a mistake. It was a bad mistake, he said. We had no intention to offend. The video has since gone viral on various platforms, with many saying the Marines should be kicked out of the military. Seems as though whether it's a military or someone in the community or working for a company, they should have learned by now that this is unacceptable. Local Church Baptist Bishop Cornelius Bowser told San Diego station KGTV. He adds, we pay our tax dollars for them to protect and serve our country. And this is not it. Right there, that kind of display, that kind of character should not be allowed. Spokesperson for the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing, to which the 2 Marines belong, told local station KNSD that USMC officials are aware of the post and are investigating the incident to determine the facts and circumstances surrounding the content. First Lieutenant Frederick D. Walker, a spokesman for the aviation unit, released the following statement. 3rd MAW takes all allegations of discriminatory behavior very seriously as they stand in stark contrast of our core value of honor, courage, and commitment, and do not reflect the discipline and professionalism of the Marines and sailors of 3rd MAW. All right, so once again, it's on. Again, we had high school schoolers, right? And then again, about right after high school, a lot of people start going into the military, right? So, is this a modus operandi? Is there a pattern here? You know what I'm saying? Again, yes, these are individual incidents. Okay, I give you that. I give you that. But again, like I said, as the analogy would be to a barrel of apples. If I put my hand in there blindly and I can't look in there, and I put my hand to pull out an apple and that apple is rotten, I go put my hand in there again. Pull out another one and it's rotten too. I put it in there one more time or not. So my assumption would have to be the whole barrel must be rotten. Right? So can you slip and fall if somebody put a banana down on the ground and you didn't see it? Yes. How do you slip and fall into a racial situation? Let me understand that. How do you slip and fall by accident to a racial situation? Now, again, if you want to clean your pores again, back in the day, there used to be people using Noxzema, then they used to use the face peel, put the stuff on there, and they would peel and get the dirt and stuff out of there, try to keep the exfoliations, right? Exfoliating your skin, right? So you have the beauty glow for women. These days, you got men out here exfoliating their skin, right? Want to get that purty look, right? Want to look purty out here, right? So, again, now, if you would have been in the bed, waking up from that, or been in the bathroom, right? But it seemed like you was fully clothed, put on a hat, and then did a salute, right? Put the salute on too, right? With that on there to, again, display, videotape it, and to upload it, right? So, again, that's too much of a slip and fall. You understand? Think about that. If you slip and fall, you fall immediately from the time that you stepped on and fall. You don't slip, fall, flip, fall, down damn stairs, down a mountain road. It don't do all that. You understand? And so, again, the modus operandi is this is just the fabric of the nation we in. As you seen the elder brother that was in there, he was saying, now, check this out. Now, a lot of those who've been in the military know that, again, when they get in there, there's a lot of tension and racial aspects that go on in the military, right? Due to the simple fact, again, you got people who may be coming from areas that would be predominantly of their persuasion and never really had the interaction with other people. So a lot of things they get is from third-party TV, rumors, stereotypes, right? And that kind of thing, right? And so what happens is when you start to put people, and again, they have to learn to be accustomed, then go through training, boot camp, and all that other stuff. And again, but you already got a preconceived notion on, again, as we heard the teenagers say things that seem that, is this learned? You know what I'm saying? Was this learned understanding, or this was personal experience? They're too young to have that kind of experience. So again, we have to believe that a lot of that came from learned from hearsay, stereotypes, and all kind of other stuff that may just be, again, in the vicinity of their experience of life. And so here it is, again, when you think of military, and those who, again, the generalization of what people understand about military and what it does is supposedly they tell you that it's protecting the country, right? But again, if you've been on the planet a little bit long, and many suns and many moons, and you've done learn and did some research and understand how the game goes, it's a little bit more than just that. So what happens is the question becomes, again, if you are in that military, atmosphere, and that's kind of the duty that you sign up to do, if you get in the situation, as the elder was saying, can he trust that this individual that got that kind of, if they say slipped and fall in the banana tail in the, what was it, a banana in the tailpipe joke, right? If you get in a dire situation where my life is on the line, would you allow me to be killed? It was the question the elder was posing. Could that happen? That situations, a line of fire, that people use a situation, again, because again, we look at it from those who come out of the inner cities, and again, we say the municipality is kind of like the military force of the local, and we see how that transpires, and sometimes that they fabricate and say things that transpire that didn't really happen. So does that also happen when it comes in that area when it comes to the military? Because again, it seems that some people have, and a lot of people who come back and tell our story, that there is a element that a lot of people are using again, it's for good training, right? You know, again, some people say be all you can be, get to see the world, you get to become a man and all that. But again, it could also be the training ground, right? Right? And so, you know, you give people the benefit of the doubt if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But again, like I said, I don't think that was more of a slip and a fall. That looked like that was, again, you know, the connotative joke, making joking fun of it, saying monkey, you know what I'm saying, and having a black face. And again, we see the theme. It's been also, it can go as high as to your politician and go all the way down to your high schooler, right? And even in between, right? So again, there's a modus operandi being, you know, seen here. And so again, you would think that, again, we know that the PR work is going to say that this is not condoned, this is not what we this is not representative. Of course, that is the policy aspect. Of course, you gotta have that. You got to say that. But again, you know, sometimes people, you gotta take what you can get, and sometimes, you know what I'm saying, if you're in a situation, again, I can talk about the barrel apples, and you ain't got nothing to eat, and all you got is the rotten apples, and you got to make apple pie or some apple cider with them rotten ass apples, and you ain't got nothing else to do. I guess you go make the best of what you got and do what you can, right? Try to trim as much of the bad as you can, but you can't get it all, because otherwise you won't have what you got, what you're trying to make, because you ain't got nothing else to choose from. So that's what it seemed like we got here. And again, can that be at one time, you know, a sign of danger? Because again, I did a story one time where they talked about some stuff that had went down, that some went into a Muslim town, and it was mugs that was in this same kind of facility, same type of, you know, let's say capacity of official capacity of employment, and was about to do it, and it got foiled. You understand? So again, we can see this situation and kind of say, okay, you say what you say it is, but again, for us as black, ADOS, BADOS, and DOS, we have to look at that. We can't just say that, you know, okay, we're going to just shy up and say, yeah, all right, it was just slipping up a fall. Oh, no, we got to look at that and be like, as the elder brother said, in that kind of situation, is this the kind of cat you want to be in a foxhole with, or them in a foxhole with? So again, we will see as time go on how they're going to really deal with it. Will it be more slap of the wrist, or will they be getting corporal punishment, or will they just get the old, you know, how they, you know, what is that, how they get you out, there's a term when they get you out, right? Honorable, either discharge or honorable discharge, right? So anyway, that story will be continued. It's already 5 days done past, because again, you know, I haven't been on. All right, so let's go on. Right, we're almost closing on the first hour of the show. And again, like I say, modus operandi, right? We can just see that, right? Let's look. Okay, so check this out, right? So, you know, so we have somebody young in high school. They got people that would get out of high school to get into the military, right? And then we had this situation here. Now, this one has been having a little issue because, again, due to some things that had been said, again, the person said what they said, that they didn't have the real ill will intent when they said what they said. It was just said, and it shouldn't have been, and people are insensitive and all that. Okay, you can say what you want. But then they came out again, said some things. And so let me play this, and I'll be right back.
Controversial comments in a new interview with Roseanne Barr. She sat down over the weekend with the conservative commentator Candace Owens, and Barr, in this interview, attacks the Me Too movement, the 2020 presidential candidate Kamala Harris, and Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, who had accused Brett Kavanaugh of sexual abuse. Barr compared the feminist movement to white supremacy, adding that the Me Too accusers are, quote, pretending they didn't go to trade sexual favors for money.
All right, so I got the article right here. It says Roseanne Barr attacks #MeToo Hollywood Kamala Harris in Candace Owens interview. No, I'm going to say that again. Roseanne Barr attacks #MeToo Hollywood Kamala Harris in Candace Owens interview. The story was done in Deadline March the 3rd, 2019, and this is how it reads. Says a new interview with defrocked TV star Roseanne Barr claims the originator of the #MeToo movement are hoes, and had harsh words for Senator Kamala Harris, Christine Blasey Ford, and others. In an interview with Fox News host Candace Owens on the Candace Owens Show, Barr let loose with a verbal slam of the women whose story created the worldwide movement against sexual harassment. They're pretending that they didn't go to trade sexual favors for money, Barr said, asking why some women find themselves in men's hotel rooms at 3 a.m. She added, well, you ain't nothing but a hoe. I know a hoe when I see one. Barr also had choice words about comedian Louis C.K., whom Owens raised. That's who I'm talking about, too. As for Harris, Barr said, look at Kamala Harris, who I call Kama Sutra Harris. We all know what she did. She slept her way to the bottom, Barr said, alluding to the senator's past dalliances with California politician Willie Brown. Barr continued suggesting Christine Blasey Ford, who accused Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, should be in prison. White women privilege kept her out of imprisonment, Barr contended. She added that freshman Representative Iihan Omar and Rashid Tlaib were members of a terrorist organization. It's scary that we have Hamas in our Congress, she said. Barr also took a shot at Hollywood. When I went to bat for Sandra Bernhardt, Kathy Griffin, and Sarah Gilbert to get them on TV because I gave them all their TV jobs, you know what people at the network told me? Those girls are too ugly to go on TV, Barr claimed. And I said, this is so incredible sexist. Look at me, I'm no beauty. She can't take talent for a woman and reduce it to their facial flaws. Are you shitting me? Barr then claimed she has changed her mind. Nowadays, I'm like, you're right. They are too ugly to be on TV, she claimed. They are had ugliness inside. All right. So again, what we see again is an immoral pattern. Again, it's like, again, you know, speaking your mind and being truthful is part of just being a person that's just forthright, right? And, you know, stories as I get back into the swing of things again, there's stories that's out here again, as I gave forewarning about the YouTube fake news wars and how YouTube and Google and all them are getting together in a couple months to collaborate together to kind of figure out ways how to put muzzles on the corner that the builders reject, right? The black corner of the internet, because of this influence of having black people to now look at politics in a way more than just giving without give and take. So teaching them the game of politics in a way that would be beneficial as to if you want our participation, then what kind of promises you gonna keep, not just a chicken dinner and you know, we're going to do the Tookie Hookie dance and everything going to be good, right? So the political mind shift of the consciousness of, you know, our people as black people, DOS, ADOS, and BADOS is changing. And again, they need to stuff that bag back into the genie bottle, but it may not be possible, right? And so again, as I'm talking about Roseanne Barr, about, again, saying things that sometimes that may just be, is it inappropriate or appropriate? You know, I guess it kind of depends on who's looking at it, right? Because there's things that Mr. Blow Your Mind may be saying that some people may feel the same way, right? But again, you know, we being in the day of what they call receipts, right? So you don't do anything to get the receipts, or anything I may do, you have the receipts of where I get it from, and I may just give my opinion, or again, because I am a voracious reader of news, so again, I have a lot of the ins and outs of something that the average person may not. So again, it's not so much my opinion, it's about the things that may have been written. So again, I give you the source, the date, and so you can go back and see for yourself. Now, in the case here, this was a lot of things of opinion and saying things. Again, some of that stuff was in the news, but then some things that can be embellished, right? You're embellishing because, again, you have your reason for why you're saying what you're saying. So when you look at some of the things, again, you remember when Roseanne Barr got in trouble again for talking about, I think it was Valerie Jarrett, and, talking about, Planet of the Apes and the whole thing and the Muslim whole thing, and, the whole thing got a show taken from her, right? And, she cried and went through the whole tantrum, right? Again, if you watch the ending of the show, you'll see that she said, I thought the bitch was white, right? That whole thing, right? So, sometimes we got to ask yourself that some people, again, see things, go through it time and time again, and somehow still it don't dawn on them that it's like they don't see themselves. And so, again, I may not be in disagreement with some of the things you might have said, right? But it just seems like some people just feel like, again, we are who we are, we say what we want, but see, if we start talking the way everybody become offended, you got to do things to try to put a muzzle and stop us from speaking, and that we're influencing as if like propaganda is influence, right? Putting bad news in press and fake news would be the same thing. So why is it that, again, for people who would be in the position of not having the venues to disseminate from a black perspective, that they finally are taking the compass? Now, it's not saying that every channel out here, not even going to say that my own channel was, but again, everybody has their right to choose to who they want to listen to, or they want to believe if they're giving them facts or whatever. But now the point is that, nobody tries to come out here, at least not from my perspective. I don't be out here to just slander. I just take what the news said, and again, I give you my opinion, give you life, and give you some history to it, give you a little bit of some of everything. Again, like I say, I got a plate. And I put all the meats and vegetables and fruits and whatever you like on there. We'll give you a well-served meal. Now, in the case here, we see that Roseanne Barr goes out. She said that, again, she said about the Me Too. Now, there's a lot of people who have their issues about the Me Too movement, especially, again, one of the reasons I took so much time off is due to the simple fact that, again, the R. Kelly situation. And, again, I don't know. I know, again, the history of what had been happening, but I'm not sure now. And then, again, a lot of things that have been said. So I just don't want to really put my intake or put on that because, again, I always say that while you was looking right, you should have been looking left, or when you was looking left, you should have been looking right, because, again, this could be having more cuts than one. Again, that might be having facts and some truth, but there's another reason why it was a deflect. I want to talk about that later. And so, with that being said, if you take Roseanne being a woman, right, she said that Me Too's movement is about hoes, right? And, is that all? Some banal, as they say? Is that some banal? But, I guess she entitled to her opinions, right? And then I guess those who feel like, again, they say a crowded dogs, you take the rock and throw it to a crowd, only the one that got hit is going to be the one that yelled. So far, I guess nobody's yelled because nobody's saying they were hoes. But I guess the analogy would be the fact that she said that how a lot of the cases have been brought forward that are people going to places that put yourself in a one-on-one situation. And again, look at the scenario. It's 3 a.m. Why are you putting yourself in a position and then want to cry wolf later? So a lot of people may have their take on that and say, you know what I'm saying, you might be right of that. And so, again, she entitled to her opinion, right? So that's just what she said right there, right? And she went on and talked about Kamala Harris and Christine Blasey Ford, right? She talked and she said they're pretending that they didn't go to trade sexual favor for money, right? So I guess in that sense she was kind of using what she said she called a Kama Sutra. That's kind of Indian. And the Kama Sutra, right? I mean the Kamala, right? And saying that again with the story that broke out again, a lot of people was kind of wondering, why did that brother come out and start talking about that? You know what I'm saying? They said, why did he come out there and say that him and her had a relationship and all that good stuff? So people were under the insinuation that did what Roseanne had said. Well, you was out there doing what you're doing, and that's how you move down. She didn't say you moved up, you moved down. Right? You know what I'm saying? So throwing shots, right? She throwing parting shots, right? So they talked about Louis C.K., he kind of been in that too. People talking about some things about that. And so, she goes on, she said that, again, the Brett Kavanaugh situation when she talked about that, Christine Blasey said, from her opinion, she believed that, that woman had white privilege. That's one thing that kept her, because I'm trying to figure out, too, how did you have a hearing based on one person saying this and another person saying that? Somebody can't be, both can't be right and both can't be wrong. Somebody right and somebody wrong. And she said, well, based on what Roseanne Barr said, she said she believed she should be, but she can't get it because she got a privilege, right? And that's what kept her out from being it, right? So she kind of spit some things. She got a fruit basket. She got some grapes. She got some apples. She got some orange. And then she went over to the nigger section. Then she said, wait a minute, this Iihan Omar, right? You know, Omar been going in. And again, I got something in the show to play that. Iihan been going in. Iihan coming in like the freshman. You know what I'm saying? Like she finna come in, shake it up. She kind of, you know, like they said about the, what was her name? Oh, man, I can't think of her name off the top, though. Would it come to me? But she coming in, shaking up things, right? Saying things again. She got her personal experience. She knows some things from a personal experience. But again, like I said, is telling the truth in this day and age becoming to be the anti? Is telling the truth becoming anti? So here it is. She said about her and Rashida Tlaib, and she said they were members of a terrorist organization. Really? See, is that defamation? Is that slanderous? Is that planting seeds in the head again? You know, again, you know, you have this country calls itself what it says it is. It really doesn't have a real, you know, a stamp as to what the real religion of the nation is. People will assume it's Christianity, but you got to remember the history of when it came here. They wasn't one. They was all breaking up in different belief systems, right? And so, yes, you may say it's Christendom, but I don't know if this is Christian land. So that's why you have all different types of, you know, religions here. And so now, you know, you're saying that these that practice this are terrorists. And I don't know if that's a terrorist organization. And I guess, is that some but all, right? Is that some of the part of that is a terrorist organization, or you just blanking it and say it's a terrorist organization and all? So that would also include, I guess, the Black Nation, Islam, and, you know, all the other things that are faction to it, right? So it says it's scary that we have Hamas in our Congress, right? I seen something. I think I seen what's his name? His daughter, the one that come on The View. John McCain's daughter, right? She was on there, she crying, saying some things too. It's like, what? It's like everybody is up in the roars and kids are crying, but when it sure come to black folks, boy, ain't nobody got no damn tears for that shit though, right? Sure ain't got no tears, but everybody got tears for that though, right? There's some funny shit there, right? So, you know, she goes on to talk about, again, right? When she talk about the ending, she talking about how she got other people into the position of jobs. She learned that Hollywood and about how it's, you know, has a sexist mentality, right? I mean, think about it. She said, well, they were too ugly. When she talking about, you know, Griffith and Gilbert and all them, and she said, well, they said it was too ugly. She said, well, look at me. Well, the difference between you and them, I think Gilbert might be, Gilbert might be Jewish, right? So, but you Jewish, right? So you in the family, so it's not like they can overlook that you in the blood of the family according to the way they look at it again, right? And the rest of them, again, they had to, you know, fit a certain prototype. And so she said, after a while, she sat back and said, oh, I get it now. They're ugly from the inside. It's not so much the outside, right? So, again, you know, people have their opinions about things, but that don't mean everything that you say is exactly the fact. And again, when you put these labels, these other labels, right, you went in kind of a little real hard on people of color, right? Talking about organizations, about their religion and so forth. But again, I guess you're entitled to that. And again, if you have the receipts, I guess you can say it, right? So that's what she did, right? So let's move on, right? Let me go on here and move on. Because, you know, that's what it's getting to. The system is trying to find a way to put corks and bottles and pacifiers in mouths and try to, you know, revamp it again the way that I guess the new system going to go. Because as a matter of fact, I see something on Facebook talking about that it's trying to make it where you can't go back and, you know, go through people's page and get stuff that they had said. Because see, again, it's kind of like that video camera with the cops. Where they want, I think I read too, where it says in Illinois, Chicago, that they're going to get rid of the body cameras. It's like, why would you be doing that? Unless, if it was not doing this job, which it was doing this job, but if it's more incriminating those who's supposed to be upheld, then I guess you would be getting rid of. So again, is truth under attack? Because again, the truth don't need no partner. So that's what it looks like it's going, y'all. So how much longer can the corner that the builders reject keep going? When are they going to get it to the fact that, again, as I use sometimes about the 1984 movie, right? About, thought patrol, right? You know they're trying to come up with kind of technology so they can read your thoughts. So there's going to be a crime about how you even thinking coming to time near us. So let me go and move on. We at the minute where we at the 1 hour 10 minute mark. So let me go ahead and switch the tone a little bit. All right, let me go and switch the tone up a little bit, and we're gonna come back with this here. Let me go and play this for everybody. I'll be right back. Let's get it. All right, so we're back from after that little break. And so I seen this story here, man. Again, you know, due to the simple fact, again, that the corner that the builders reject is talking about reparations due to, again, what black people have endured in this land and the long history as to, you know, prolong. It's kind of like if you prolonged use of things, it could be detrimental to you, right? It's, you know, it's kind of like brushing your teeth and using toothpaste, right? You get too much toothpaste, swallow too much toothpaste, on the back of it said, call your physician and immediately get some physical help, right? Because you could go, oh, matter of fact, poison control. Matter of fact, let me take that back. Don't call your physician, call this 1-800-POISON control, because your ass going to get poisoned. Now, here it is. A little bit can be good enough to do what it do, but if you get too much, the shit can kill you, right? So what can make black people get to this level? This is one reason why I'm bringing the story, because again, I love black people, right? I'm black, like you black, and maybe if you ain't black, I am black, letting you know that, right? So I love black people, and again, we go through the most heinous things that this country has ever seen. And people still got shit on their mind right now trying to come up with shit, right? And so when I see a story like this, I had to say, well, where did you go in mind to get here, right? So let me go ahead and pull this up. And then we'll be right back. Check this out, y'all.
Held without bail, the mother and her 19-year-old daughter, accused of murdering their family members, are staying behind bars today. They've allegedly confessed to their crime, saying everyone, even the 3 children, wanted to die. It is Tuesday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Shari Williams. The big story on Action News is the new details that we are learning about the 5 people murdered in Morrisville, Bucks County.
Action News has team coverage today at 4 o'clock. Maggie Kent is in the neighborhood, but we'll begin now with Walter Perez.
And he's live at the district attorney's office in Doylestown. And Walter, this case is rattling investigators.
No doubt about it, Shari and Brian. Authorities say it'll be weeks before they can determine exactly how the victims were killed in this case. Investigators say it seems at least 2 of them were strangled, but at this point they simply don't know. But what they do know at this point, at least what they say they think they know, is who did it. Authorities say 45-year-old Shanna Decree and her 19-year-old daughter Dominique have confessed to the horrific murders of 5 members of their own family. Morrisville Police Chief George McClay says these are the kinds of cases that haunt police officers.
It's a sad day for us, as much as I've seen over my career. This is the saddest case I've ever had.
It was yesterday afternoon when police got the call from a social worker who went to the Decree family apartment on West Bridge Street to see how they were doing. The caseworker reported that the suspects seemed disoriented. Investigators quickly arrived to find the remains of the 5 dead victims in another room. The youngest were 13 years old and 9-year-old twins. Bucks County DA Matt Weintraub says he has a pretty good idea how this crime unfolded. The question that lingers is, what could have possibly been the motive?
As confusing as it was last night, we are no closer to understanding that in the harsh light of day. We will continue to pursue every lead and to work this case to its just conclusion.
During questioning, not only did the suspects reportedly say they wanted to be dead, they also said the victims wanted to die as well. So we asked Chief McClay if he thinks this is some kind of twisted murder-suicide case. He says that's doubtful.
2 9-year-olds can't make that decision, and a 13-year-old. So I think that's, is that something in the adults' minds? I don't know, but it's surely not in 9-year-old minds.
Now, authorities say there were 8 people living inside that tiny apartment, the 2 suspects and the 5 victims. The 8th person was one of the victim's sons. We can report that he was not there at the time of the murders, and today he was found by investigators uninjured.
All right, so we see a story that had happened. Seems like 5 people lost their lives. Mother and daughter seem to be the only ones left. I had the story somehow done disappeared, so I don't have time to find it. So I just have to go off what you've seen on the video. And so, the sickness that has now taken place. Matter of fact, I might have got, hold on, maybe I got that. Hold on. Let me see something. I might got that story. I think I might got that story, y'all. Let me see if this is it. This might be it. Hold on, let me see. Mother and daughter charged in atrocious killing of 5 family members in Pennsylvania. I'm going to say that again. Mother and daughter charged in atrocious killing of 5 family members in Pennsylvania. The story was done in the Washington Post, February the 26th, 2019. And this is how it reads. Bucks County, Pennsylvania, District Attorney Matthew Weintraub said on February 26th that Shanna Decree and her daughter had been charged with killing 5 family members. No one answered when the social worker knocked on the door. Not Shanna Decree or her 3 children, not her sister or her 3 children. All was quiet inside Unit S7 at Robert Morrison Apartments because most of the people who lived there were dead. It's not clear why the caseworker was checking on the apartment in Mooresville, Pennsylvania, near the Delaware River, but when there was no response Monday afternoon, she asked a maintenance worker to unlock the door, according to court documents. The scene inside was straight from nightmares. Overturned furniture, shattered glass, cluttered throughout the home. 2 disoriented women and 5 bodies, including 3 children, in a back room. The details come from an affidavit from Probable Cause, which accuses Shanna Selena Decree, 45, and her daughter, Dominique Clarin Decree, 19, the 2 who were found alive, of killing the other 5. The 2 women are each facing 5 counts of criminal homicide and 1 count of conspiracy to commit criminal homicide. It was not immediately clear who is representing them. Authorities identified the victims as Shanna Decree's children, Naira Smith, 25, Damon Decree Jr., 13, Shanna Decree's sister, Jamila Campbell, 42, and Campbell's 9-year-old twin daughters, Imani Irikiala Another relative, Campbell's 17-year-old son Joshua, has been found unharmed, police said. Authorities said that there are no other suspects in the case. I'm sure that you're going to ask me why this had occurred and what the motivation is. And as confusing as it was at night, we are no closer to understanding that in the harsh light of day, Bucks County District Attorney Matthew D. Weinstraut said Tuesday during a news conference, "We will continue to pursue every lead and to work this case to its just conclusion. I expect that will be a long and laborious process, but we will always keep Naira, Damon, Jamila, Erica, Imani first and foremost in our minds and our hearts, and as we work to get justice for them." Weintraub told reporters Tuesday that authorities are investigating the brutal massacre to determine how exactly the family members died, when it happened, and why they may have been killed. When asked whether it may have been a murder-suicide pact, the district attorney said was a potentiality. Police responded to a home about 4 p.m. Monday and found Shanna and Dominique Decree disoriented in bed. The two were rushed to a nearby hospital for treatment, according to court records. Meanwhile, according to the court record, police uncovered a gruesome scene in the back room in the apartment. One person's body was face up on the bed with his head towards the end and his right foot through the wall to the next room. Another was on the bed and was sitting up against it. One of the children was on the floor and one of the person was buried beneath another body. During the interview with police, Shanna and Dominique Decree denied knowing what had happened and told police Campbell's boyfriend and 2 other men had come into the apartment and killed the victims, according to the court's records. Later, Shanna Decree told police the victims, including the 3 children, wanted to die and had been discussing suicide, according to court records. Ultimately, police said Shanna and Dominique Decree told investigators about a complicated plan that allegedly involved some of the victims killing each other, at least one of them being choked to death, and then Shanna and Dominique Decree killing the rest of them, according to court's documents. Authorities said the 17-year-old boy, who has since been found safe, was not at home during the killings. Shanna Decree was arraigned in the early hours of Tuesday morning, and her daughter Dominique was arraigned in the afternoon. Both women are being held without bond, according to booking records. I just feel very confident that we have 2 killers locked up that committed these atrocious murders, Weintraub, the district attorney, said. All right, so what we have here again is about the story about a mother and daughter who were charged in atrocious killing of 5 family members in Pennsylvania, right? The story is back done on February 26th again. I missed that story at that time, but again, just for the tragicness of it. And again, you know, we have to look at this. And this is why that the reparations is on the table. There's a sickness here, right? Right? We don't know what it was about. Again, when there's again as a man and had women friends or have women friends, right? And, you know, coming up when you're younger, you know, how women would not really get in good company with each other, right? It was always this competitive thing, just like when brothers are getting together. It's a competitive thing, but again, I think it takes it to another level when women. And so when there's too many women in a household, again, as you heard in the video, it talked about a small place that had, you had most of their children there, but again, you had these 2 here was the Decree, right? You had, what was her name? I think her name was Shanna Decree, right? That was the mother. I do believe that was the mother name was Shanna Decree. And the daughter name was Dominique, right? And so they were the only 2 left standing. She's 19 and the mother, I think, is 45, right? And then they talked about the other ones that were in there. They said this Naira, she was 25, right? He had a Decree Jr., which was 13. They had another one named Campbell that was 42. So you had 25 and a 42-year-old. You had a 9-year-old, a 13-year-old, right? and the 17-year-old wasn't there, right? And it was a 9-year-old, right? So it seemed like there was some kind of domestic situation, right? And again, we don't know what that was about, right? To the fact that you left everybody dead, right? Mama, daughter, and children. And then the story said about how they said the young ones wanted to commit suicide, and then when they came there, again, you have to ask yourself, how many, didn't say how many days that had transpired, because they said that, again, somebody came with a well, the well check, right? And it was the social worker, right? They came, knocked on the door, and then went immediately and got the maintenance or the building superintendent, whatever it was, to open the door. And when they came in there, they in there sleep, right? Now, saying they talking about there was furniture moving. There's going to be some furniture moving in here. So they go in there and they see the disarray, seeing person bodies, young people dead and stuff like that. And they see furniture, glass and all that. So, again, I'm not understanding. I didn't see the complex. I know if it's a complex or ground floor. But if you got that kind of, chaos that didn't happen, right, you would assume, right, that neighbors heard. There had to be some yelling and screaming, we would assume, right? But again, sometimes it's the timing. People could be doing other things and just not here, right? Stranger things happen. But we have to look at the fact that, this deep descent of hate, descend way down, descend way down up in us, this thing that some of us have for each other. Because again, when you cannot pinpoint and figure out where the cause of your problems is, again, a lot of people like to look at the effect but don't look at the cause. So again, a lot of times what we do is, some people get into that whole thing about lashing out those who were most closest to them. And again, due to the long prolong of this duration of oppression, everybody don't know how to deal with it and cope with it. So sometimes, again, an anthill can turn into a mountain. Now, could it have been about men? Could have been. Could it be just been this, whatever it could have been? We don't know. I guess as the time going, it may come out, maybe not never come out. But I did hear in the story talked about blame it on men. Right? Some men came in here. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen. They said the men, but see, the police say, well, no, I think we got who we got. Again, we know how it is when it comes to police. Again, their job is to go ahead and get somebody so that way they can be done and over with. So you have to ask yourself, what would it take, sisters, to get you to that level that you could just go all out, kill everybody? And I mean, it was like mama and daughter tag teaming, right? So it's tragedy all the way, and a lot of young life was, exterminated, extinguished. But again, we in a great time right now, and we at a crossroad time. And so those who may be at this moment hearing my voice about some things and you're going through some things, just hold on, right? Again, as White Extinction talked about, you're on that trip. You see the outskirts of the city. You see the city. You're outside the city limits. You only just got a little bit way to go. Hold on. See? Because yes, it's been a hard road. You understand? But you can't take out that frustration on each other, because that is not the cause to your effect of why, whatever it is you're going through. It's been a consistent, persistent, long history of things that have been done. It's become the culmination of our experience that we try to endure. Because again, it says, he who lasts to the end shall endure to the end. So it's about the endurance. It's like a marathon runner. We're running this, so don't get caught up. See, because there is a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow, but you have to persevere. And so whatever manifests here, hopefully, we have this black corner again, the corner that the builders reject. And we can get to some of you to understand. Love your brother. Love your sister. Treat them like an equal. Okay? We all we got. That we didn't need. You see the little sisters and things. We're talking about continuation. We're talking about prolonging this. And again, as we keep taking each one individually, these little sprats and fights, and soldiers and sisters are being taken out, that is detriment to us as a whole. Learn to get around somebody on these internet who's talking that thing that can get so you to get a better understanding about what this is and what it's about. And let those little petty things, even sometimes some things that may be to the point that it's like, you know, it's the total utmost respect. But respect each other's life and go on and just don't deal with each other no more. But in this case, this is tragic in its finest and its worst. And it looks like people will kind of keep plastering our faces to keep trying to get this modus operandi on us. So we can't feed into that. Right? So I just wanted to bring that story to bring somebody to let the little sisters and them go. But again, what did it take to get y'all at that level to do that? So, do we got a gear is the question. Do black folks got a gear that we're afraid we don't want to go there? Listen to what I'm saying. You know, some people say, well, you know, numbers are not in the favor. Mom got all this and this and that. But again, this tragedy here, I'm not looking at it as that as a positive. What I'm looking at is there a gear in black folks that you can go there? Think about that. Is there a gear in black folks, if need be, they can go there? You would not imagine that two sisters could pull that kind of move. What did it take in the hardness of heart to do what they did? And if so, there's a gear that black folks got? Just chew on that fat. Just chew on that fat. All right. We're at the 1:30 mark. Let me see what I got now. What else I got in the bag for you? All right. So this sister here, right? I seen this sister here. She makes some very good things. Again, as I'm saying there about this gear, right? And due to what transpired that may have caused it. Look at this story here. I seen this sister who said what she said here. Listen to what she says, and I'll come back after that. Matter of fact, let me set it up. For those who might be sitting on your hand, you know what I'm saying? I'm like a homeless man on the corner with my cup hanging out. You understand? Let me hold something, right? Let a brother hold something, right? So we're gonna play this and we'll be right back.
I'll be as quick as I can, as quick as it takes to kill somebody, I guess. You want me to be that quick. But, you know, as Miss Fletcher pointed out, and it doesn't take much to look on the local news every night and see how many black kids, black boys, black men are being killed with these stand your ground defenses that these people raise, and they get off. So I take issue with that. I'm the only person here of color, okay? I am a mother too, and I have a son. And I care as much for my son as y'all care for y'all's. But my son doesn't walk the same path as yours does. So this debate deserves more time. I'm in Pine Bluff. We have killings regularly down there. Mr. Hunter knows, he's our prosecutor. Now I don't know where the heck, I know where you are from, Gary. And I don't know really where Mr. Ballinger is from. But I can tell you that for a long time since I've been back here in Arkansas, I have feared for my son's life. Now he's 27, he's out of Arkansas. And I thank God he is. When you're bringing up crap like this, it offends me. And then to limit the debate too, this is crazy. You don't have to worry about your children, Will. I worry about my son. And I worry about other little black boys and girls. And people coming into my neighborhood, into my city, saying they got open carry rights, walking down in front of my doggone office in front of the courthouse. That's a bully. Do I have a right to stand my ground with some crazy ass person walking around with a doggone gun? I don't know what the hell he intends to do. But I know I am scared. I feel threatened. Just like some of y'all walking around here up in the legislature with these damn guns. That, what's his name, Garner came in here, walking around here with a damn gun under his coat. You can see the damn print.
Senator, you need to stop.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. What the hell you gonna do? Shoot me?
Senator.
Senator shit. What the hell? I'm telling you, this deserves more attention. You want to come up here with all these little NRA bills and bills that Alec have and all that stuff. I'm talking about my son's life. And I'm talking about the lives of other black kids. Do what the hell you want to do. Go ahead, but you can't silence me. You got your damn silence gun out the damn chamber today, but you are not going to silence me.
Senator Flowers, if anybody hasn't tried to silence you, it's me.
To win. To win. We need to get this over with. He said we were going to be down here all night. You got all these people up here. NAACP is here too. Let them speak. Want to limit some damn debate.
Senator.
What?
You're out of order.
And so what?
So you're out of order.
Okay, so what?
You're out of order.
And so what are you going to do about it? I am upset.
You need to be upset somewhere else.
No, I don't. I got a right. I'm an elected officer just like you.
All right. So we see that the senator there and in Arkansas, right? They're sitting there, they're trying to do a debate as to whether about, I guess they had to do, because I can't find no article on it. They're only doing showing the video, right? Whereas again, they was talking about, again, I guess, I think it was more about concealed carry and stand your ground. And I think they're trying to pass some kind of bill as to, I guess, you know, having a concealed carry, right? And from the standpoint, again, you know, this is white people's way of resolving issues, right? So basically what they done did is just basically, again, back in the days, the old westerns that used to come on. Remember the damn westerns and shit, all the shootouts and shit, cowboys and Indians shit, everybody got their gun on their holsters, so they feel like, if I got my gun, you know, don't start none, won't be none, right? So if, you know, if somebody who's thinking about trying to rob you know you got a gun, I'm saying, will that stop everything? That ain't gonna stop the fact. I mean, just because you got a gun don't mean that a person can't wait to catch you where you slipping and still catch you off guard, even when you got your gun. If somebody come behind and hit you over the head, like back in the old days, the Mannix, Joe Mannix, you know, who's been around back in the days in the 80s and shit. Joe Mannix, every damn episode, that motherfucker was getting hit in the back of his head. He had a gun on his head, right? On his hip. But every show, that nigga was getting hit in the back of his damn head, getting knocked out, waking up and shit. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I'm saying? That if somebody catch you slipping, it don't matter if you got the gun, right? So they believe that having the gun gives them a better chance. Now, again, as this sister was sitting there saying, now she says she lives in an area that has a high propensity for gun violence. She's in Pine Bluff. And, you know, she's saying, you know, gun violence and gunplay is running rampant. Then here it is, white folks want to be armed to the teeth legally, and with the heightness of this racial elevation as we did in this show here, right? We see where people in high school have their feelings about certain aspects of things, right? You have people who have their certain feelings about how they feel like black people should be put in concentration camp and that they're the dredge of society and that, what are we to do with them? Again, I seen something today on the Joy Reid show, and it showed something about Joe Biden and something about how he was talking about black folks and saying that, you know, yes, they created the scenario that created the black man that you see today, and that he's been a problem, but we got to figure out what we're going to do with them. Now, what you mean, what you going to do with them? You know what I'm saying? So again, arming and allowing yourself to be armed and walking around is legal. Again, where, you know, again, as reparations is part of the talk, and you have Antonio Moore and you have Yvette Carnell, and they're, you know, trying to put in play about the reparations. And again, they feel like the reason why they're so, advocating and pushing this is because statistically everything is showing in the data that, again, I've been reading it myself, that black people, you know, there's a percent of, you know, in the 1%, you know, of black people that may have some kind of wealth, or 2% of the total national wealth might be in some black people's hand. But the majority of black people are at the bottom with nothing, no kind of generational wealth or nothing to even pass down or nothing, just basically sustenance to live on. And so believing that reparations in itself is something that could, you know, again, it does not, it's just a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, but it can do some good in some sense. And some people believe giving a check, it won't do no good. But when we look at the dire situation that people are in, do you not think that reparations being given at this time could eliminate some of the crime that goes on, right? It could eliminate some of that, because again, if people got, then they're not in need to be trying to, you know, do what they need to make a stain to try to make a living. They got a little something. But I think the whole thing is that a lot of people just don't want black people with nothing in their damn pockets. I seen a damn video where somebody said, now listen to this, and I'm going to get back to the story. He said that, again, he said somewhere he did some evaluation and it came to $100 billion, right? $100 billion that they would give for reparation. Now listen to this good. He said $100 billion. Now again, there's only about 37 million DOS, ADOS, or BADOS in the United States. Now I said 37 million. You know what he equate that, how much that the DOS, ADOS, or BADOS would get? He said $2,700. Is that motherfucker crazy? You said 100 billion. Now listen to this. 100 billion and you got 37 million. So let's just say I'm going to give $1 million to each one of those 37 million. How much I got left? 99 billion something? That motherfucker's at 2700. He actually promoting that. And there's going to be people who seeing that and thinking that's true. How could that be? How could you get $2,700 from 100 billion when you only got 37 million people? See, they would put that kind of propaganda because, again, nobody wants to see us that could eradicate. You understand? So, again, getting back to the story, I just want to put that again because I'm going to do that video on that, though. So, here it is. The sister is saying she loved her son. She fears for her son's life because, again, this conceal and carry and how people have been killing black people with impunity and getting away with it and hiding behind standing their ground. You know, just for the simple fact of being a black male or being a person of color and accosting somebody who may be, you know, having those feelings. Again, as we heard, there's some high schoolers, and listen with the, just imagine they conceal carry. You already got the military mug already carrying, but you got the high schooler talking like that. So you can see her concern about why this need to keep pushing this concealed carry. Might be good for you, but then for the sense of me as a person, and she said, I'm not only also speaking for my own, I'm speaking for other people who are like myself. And see, and that people will think just because people are getting, you know, fiery and emotional, that somehow you're weak of mind and you're not thinking and you're so emotional. That's a spirit. That's a fire. Do you understand? Again, we're coming to a crossroad in this country. So people want to try to downplay that. But that sister was speaking from a place of love and understanding and trying to, again, question it. Again, their motive of why they do what they do. They don't really reveal everything why they doing what they doing. They make it seem to appear that this is a good way for society and how to deal with it. But it may have a long implication of some things that they setting forth and putting in motion. Again, this ain't checker. This is chess, right? So that sister went out there and said what she said, and again, he tried to, you know, try to use the checkpoint. She was like, there ain't no checking. What you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? You know what I'm saying? I have the right to be able to speak my mind. I don't believe that we should be pushing. You got everybody here to make sure this get done tonight. We need to think about this some more. That's what she was saying. But no, you ain't trying. It ain't about you. See, you got to think about this, family. When they were sitting down talking about this Constitution and all the shit that was put down and we were not in the room. They didn't ask you whether yay or nay. They didn't give no shit because they didn't even look at you as human. So the whole thing is sometimes that's why I seen a video where a person had said that, you know, black people are getting out of their place. You're talking and you're acting as if you're equal. And so we feel like, you know, that will never be on our watch. Okay. Teach his own. But the point is, she right. What is the rush for all that? Let everybody have their say in debate as to whether this is, no, it's not about what you're thinking. It's about what we want. You see? And so I had to commend, and we have to commend that sister for what she did and stood her ground on her belief. You see? See, again, it's either about the money with the job and just sit back and let it go, or is it about the integrity? And she displayed integrity. So our hats off to you, sister. All right, we're at the 150 mark, closing in on that 2 hour. Trying to give y'all much as again. I know I haven't been on, right? So let me go ahead and play. Let me go ahead and play this here. I want to play this one here. And I think I got the story behind it. I think I got the story behind it, right? I think I got that. So I'm going to play this here because, again, like that sister there, standing her ground, telling that, speaking that truth. But again, speaking that truth is becoming something that is something to be looked upon as anti. It's not about that. It's about what we want and not what you think or what you believe, right? So we have another person, again, that was politics, right? We see that was a senator. So we got here. This sister has been in the news a lot. She's been rattling the cage. She just got in you know what I'm saying, and doing things off the boat, and people are just not liking it. They look like they're trying to find a way to get rid of her, right? So let me go ahead and show what I'm talking about, show this, and then, you know what I'm saying, then we'll go ahead and do that. Let me do that. Let's do that.
To these two top stories. First, the explosive comments from freshman lawmaker Iihan Omar blasting former President Obama's hope and change message. Time for tonight's Power Panel. Democratic strategist Kevin Walling, the Daily Caller editorial director Vince Colonnese, and Sohrab Ahmari, the op-ed editor of the New York Post. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. Good evening, Shannon.
Okay, so listen, Congresswoman Omar has been in trouble for these anti-Semitic remarks. It's put the Democrats in disarray this week, but now it sounds like, although she's denying it, that she's been, you know, taking some hits at former President Barack Obama, and obviously he's very beloved among Democrats. In Vanity Fair, they say this: Democrats didn't abandon Omar over her comments about Israel. Her criticism of Barack Obama is another matter. For some, those comments may prove to be more incendiary. Vince?
Can you imagine criticizing President Obama is going to be more incendiary than saying something anti-Semitic in the end for the Democratic Party? I mean, there's something sort of humorous. If this wasn't so crazy, it would be very humorous. Over the last week, the Democratic Party scrambled to completely defend Congresswoman Omar and to basically forgive her sins of sort of repeatedly suggesting that people have dual loyalty to the United States and Israel, that people are hypnotized by Israel, sort of anti-Semitic tropes she keeps trotting out and then asking for forgiveness for. And now she attacks President Obama, and perhaps the worst way possible as a Democrat, by suggesting that, well, he's basically President Trump, but he had a pretty smile and a nice face.
Yeah, there's some backlash tonight. Again, she's backpedaling on that, but she's produced tape. The reporter says he stands by it and he's got his own tape, and it pretty much sounds like the way that she was quoted and in context. In the Free Beacon, Matthew Continetti writes this: Democrats are tripping over themselves, making rationalizations, dodging reality, and trying to clean up this anti-Semitic mess. Kevin, why is she getting such a pass from so many in the Democrat Party?
Yeah, sure, Shannon. I got to tell you, as a Democrat, I'm so sick and tired of hearing Congresswoman Omar this week because it's such a distraction from, you pointed out at the outset, the passage of the largest election reform bill today. Some terrifying economic news in terms of our job report. But I got to say, I think you saw a united Democratic Party in that House caucus. Every single member voted to condemn any kind of anti-Semitism in terms of the way they operate in the Hill. I think you're seeing senior leadership pull her aside, that she is not a state representative in Minnesota anymore. She is on the world stage, and that her words need to be taken very much into consideration when she's making them, and to make sure that we are standing completely with our partners in Israel and condemning any kind of hateful speech that this representative is speaking.
And so, Rob, last night, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez said that she and Congresswoman Omar and Tlaib are being targeted as freshman women of color. She says they're getting unfair treatment, and that if you went after every bad thing that a congressman or woman did on the Hill, that everybody in Congress basically would be in trouble. Fair?
I don't think that's fair at all, Shannon. First of all, I just want to note it's remarkable and startling how much Iihan Omar, frankly, the disdain she has for the country, that we should note. It's the country that has given her family and herself refuge. She escaped war-torn Somalia, was a refugee in Kenya for 4 years, and then, thanks to a Lutheran church group, was able to ultimately immigrate to the United States. And I, as an immigrant myself, I have to note this constant disdain of her portrayal of the United States and its anti-terror policies under successive administrations, treating it as this sort of murderous country that cages children at the border and drones people, and not any similar criticism, I would say, of the Islamist groups, among them those that have turned Somalia, her homeland, into such a horrible place. Not one word of criticism, as far as I can tell. It's only directed at the country that has given her and her family refuge. It's not a perfect country, but I think it's startling, and it's, frankly, it's disgusting.
Well, Kevin, as you said, it has overshadowed something big that happened today with Democrats, which was passing H.R. 1. It's got the number one on the bill because it is their priority. And it's a massive sweep of talking about campaign finance reform and transparency. And I want to tell a little bit about it and then get you each to weigh in. Even the ACLU hates this thing. Here's what they say. That it will have the effect of harming our public discourse by silencing necessary votes that would otherwise speak out, voices that would otherwise speak out about the public issues of the day. They're teaming up with Mitch McConnell neutral. I mean, I don't know how different that you could be. If I can have you each weigh in. I mean, it not only is going to force donors to disclose, but also there are going to be matching funds where taxpayers are going to have to pay for, essentially subsidize a lot of campaigns out there. So, Kevin, to you first.
Yeah, Shannon, I mean, the vast majority of Americans in this country want campaign finance reform. They supported McCain-Feingold earlier in the 2000s, and they want to clean up big money that has corrupted and corroded our politics without question. And there's a lot of great things in that bill, including security funds for our states in terms of the way that they carry out of our elections, transparency laws, ensuring that anyone who seeks the highest office in the country should be forced to release their tax returns, as every single president, going back to Nixon and Spiro Agnew.
Aimed at the current president.
Sure, absolutely. And there's a lot of questions in terms of foreign entanglements and the emolument clause. I think, Shannon, I think the important thing coming out of this is the House passed it and the Senate should at least take it up and debate it, which Mitch McConnell has refused to do.
They will not do. Vince, very quickly, I mean, the states say they should be able to run their own elections.
Yes, they should. And federalizing them is not a good idea in any way. And getting the more that you get the federal government involved, the less it is left to the discretion of the states, as it should be. I think importantly here, exposing donors in public to organizations that aren't doing political activities outright. They're just contributing to conversations about policy. Bad move. There's a reason the NAACP is against it. This dates back to the 50s, for instance. We saw the NAACP versus Alabama. The Alabama wanted to expose all of the donors to the NAACP, and the Supreme Court ruled against that for good reason. You don't want that kind of thing. You don't want people intimidated for being able to voice their opinions through these organizations.
All right, Vince, Sohrab, and Kevin, we got to leave it there, but please come back again soon.
Thanks,
Have a great
Shannon.
weekend.
Thanks a lot.
You too.
Iihan Omar, Obama's a pretty face who got away with murder. You know I'm going to say that again. Iihan Omar, Obama's a pretty face who got away with murder. This story was done March the 8th, 2019, coming from the New York Post. And this is how it reads. Minnesota Representative Iihan Omar ripped former President Barack Obama in an interview published Friday, belittling his pretty face and saying his agenda of hope and change was an illusion. She cited the caging of kids at the Mexican border and the droning of countries around the world on Obama's watch and argued that he wasn't much different from President Trump. We can't be only upset with Trump, the freshman firebrand told Political magazine. His policies are bad, but many of the people who came before him also had really bad policies. They just were more polished than he was, Omar said. And that's not what we should be looking for anymore. We don't want anybody to get away with murder because they are polished. We want to recognize the actual policies that are behind the pretty face and the smile. The explosive comments about a man's lionized by Democrats were only the latest in a series of incendiary statements that have put the national spotlight on Omar, a Somalian-American Muslim who spent 4 years in a refugee camp in Kenya after her family fled the violence in their homeland. In February, her second month in office, Omar responded to a tweet about House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, threats to punish her and another congresswoman for criticizing Israel. It's all about the Benjamins, baby, she tweeted, a line from a Puff Daddy song about $100 bills. Critics said Omar was perpetuating a hateful trope about Jewish Americans and money. She recently got into another hot mess after another tweet was slammed by some as anti-Semitic. The ensuing firestorm rattled the Democratic House majority and spurred days of recrimination and tense negotiation that led to the compromise package condemning bigotry that sailed through the House on Thursday, with only 23 Republicans voting against it. The party's leftist wing, led by New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, said Omar was being singled out when others at the highest level of government had said things that were worse and escaped censure. More moderate Democrats, including Jewish lawmakers such as New York's Eliot Engel, wanted the resolution to focus only on anti-Semitism as a direct response to Omar's comment, which questioned the loyalty of politicians who accept donations from pro-Israel PACs and organizations. Ultimately, after days of chaos and acrimony, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was able to unite her caucus and box in a big majority of Republicans to back the compromise. And Omar, along with Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, the first Muslim woman in Congress, says she's willing to keep speaking out and be a Republican punching bag if it helps advance her agenda. A prospect that likely makes many of her fellow Democrats cringe. All right, so we see that you have Minnesota Representative Iihan Omar, again, out there clapping at a whole lot of people. I mean, you've been following it. Iihan has been out there clapping, you understand, to the fact that they tried to label her as a person of anti-Semitic. And basically, I guess, they had tried to convene to try to, again, censor her, right? So this time she came back and then she went and said, well, I'm going to clap in Obama. Matter of fact, she said that, she said, man, with a pretty face, and said his agendas, right? Say, the pretty face, and yet he got away with murder is what she said, right? So again, it just kind of depends who you ask, right? Now, again, the reason why I believe that they try to make it like it's, they say, well, according to, again, when you were seeing the show, the Fox show, they was talking about how is it that she did the anti-Semitism, and yet they said they couldn't get that to stick to her, but they're going to put the Obama on it and make it stick. Well, let's put it this way. She is, her face is being a Muslim, right? And then again, I think she has it where her family had been caught up and then being up in Kenya and stuff like that, and the whole thing, right? So she kind of got a good understanding. She ain't gonna tell you what she heard. Matter of fact, Somalian. She's a Somalian American, so she definitely knows. She ain't telling you what she heard. She telling you what she know about that situation and the whole nine when as it goes to about what's going on there. More than most people who are here who may either get the information through media, reading, and so forth. She actually lived it. So, as I was saying earlier in the show, talking about telling truth. So here's a woman who is telling things that they know might be factual, right? But then you want to penalize her for that. So again, I guess they kind of backed up off that because they couldn't get the votes to actually go ahead and, censor her or get her to, kind of recant. So when she said about Obama, right, they was like, nah, that's it. Black folks love Obama. And so, so we're going to push the fact that you don't like Obama, and if we get the blacks behind it, we can get your ass out of here. Well, Now, there is a lot of our people out here who really believe that when President Barack Obama was in, that, again, it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now that we are now like, we about like, let's see, it came in at 8-16, so we more like 11 years since his beginning, right? And here we are at this stage, let's say we're at this crossroad in our existence in this country. And again, like I said, there's the petitioning for the demands of reparation due to the statistical data showing again, as I talked about before, about the bill is due, right? The bill is in the red, and black people are in a situation where the bill is in red and the bill need to be paid because the detriment is taking them in a crash course. You need to throw the damn parachute so we can get out of this shit. So when that individual, again, who she's talking about, as I did the last one, I did the Bernie Sanders and went through the history about his, him not having the yay for reparations, he followed suit behind who? Barack Obama. Because Barack Obama also was not for reparations, right? So when you look at the tenure he did and the policies and the things that had been done on it, again, a lot of people did not look at the simple fact of what had been done internationally and nationally. They was only looking at locally or just nationally. And again, a lot of people are not into all that, right? So again, she was saying some things that, again, like I said, Lucky Luciano said, next time he come back in life, he gonna come back as a politician because he said he could have got away with more. Now, why would Lucky Luciano say something like that to signify that again, right? Like you can have brothers on the corner, knowing they on the corner doing that work, doing that dirt, right? They played that, look the part. That's like the costume that you go when you're a kid and they're going to look for the costume so you can go to school with. Well, that's the costume that they wear according to make that look. But the other costume with the suit and tie, you would never look at that as that. And so she was making reference to the fact that he got away with murder, meaning he just got away with a lot of shit that a lot of people just didn't look at. Now, again, is that, again, kind of like with the, let's say, Roseanne. You know, saying things that might be true, but again, people, again, in this day and age, saying things that are true and rubbing people in the wrong way. Everybody real sensitive. And so, again, they want to censor everything because, again, that's why Facebook is trying to come up with a new way of privacy so that you can't go back. Again, they all going to try to do that because, again, that's what's happening. People going and getting the receipts of things that you had said, and a lot of people out here that said a lot of crazy shit. And so if you go back and pull it up, you got the receipt. But if you can't get to it, then, again, you don't have no proof. And, you know, some people, that's how they function. As long as you can't prove it, it don't mean... you can say it, but as long as you can't prove it, then it's just your word, your opinion, your hearsay, right? But if you got the receipts and know you can put it, now it does damage to the credibility of the individuals and their legacy. And so now they're trying to go back and privatize and not privatize, but put more privacy on everything. And so again, she as a person, you know, in politics, she done did a lot of reading. She done followed everything, so she ain't making up shit. It's just, again, this is not something everybody wants. Again, even though we're in that day and time where, you know, everything is being revealed. And so, you know, that's just what it is. And so we see that she's going in there kind of like a Shirley Chisholm. She in there rocking the boat. She's saying things. You understand? The mother's like, what the, whoa, wait a minute, this ain't how we get down in here. She said, but I ain't here to play the game. I came here to represent the people who sent me here. And this is what I got to do. You understand? This is how I'm going to get my seat back in here. You understand? Because I got to maintain for that what they put me to here to do, and she doing it. And if she got to rock some boats to say what she got to say, she's saying it. Now, again, why is every time somebody make the reference about money, this must be derogatory to another people? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You talk about the money, that everybody gets upset. Matter of fact, I think LeBron said the same thing, right? Said the lyrics of somebody rapping, then he had to come back and apologize for it, right? So you can't. Money seems to be associated with somebody else, and it's not a good thing. Well, yet everybody trying to acquire it, so you go figure, right? So again, you see the sister trying to do her job as trying to be a representative for those people, and again, she may have to say some things that, again, that makes some people uncomfortable, but again, truth is like that. The truth don't need no partner. Sometimes we don't like to hear what is need to be said, but again, if you know what is not right is just not right, and sometimes, you know what I'm saying, some people would rather silence that than for you to say what it is. So again, you know, that's going to keep continuing on. We just have to see how that's going to develop. But again, that's her, Iihan Omar, right? Out there saying that, hey, you can't, old songs, you can't trust a smile, a big butt and a smile. She said, well, you can't trust a pretty smile. Nigga, do this motherfucker here, he got away with murder. So again, when you look at the policies and a lot of things that was there, we now looking back in hindsight to say, man, we was on the Charlie Brown Halloween special when all the kids went to the door, knocked on the door, hold the bag, they get candy, got candy. We got the rock in the bag. You know what I'm saying? The rock, the Barack in the bag, right? You understand? So, all right, y'all. You know, I want to get this out at the 2-hour mark. So what I'm gonna do here is how I'm gonna end out the show with this here. All right, I'm gonna end out the show with this here because again, you gotta look at it like this, right? Gotta look at it like this. You know, the month passed, the official month that they call February, right? Yeah, Black History Month, right? And again, some of the stuff we heard in the show, again, people with a black face, monkey, and putting black people in concentration camps, and people who prescribe to a certain kind of religion are an terrorist organization. and that the people believed that was supposed to represent them, really got a rock in the bag. And so, again, let's give a little bit more history to what done transpired as we get up out of here. And I want to thank everybody who came and watched the show tonight. Thank you for your participation and everything. Was good, fam, for the subscribers, those who out there, Miss Washington and Mr. Thomas. I appreciate everything that y'all doing. It's not that if you do send a message or you do send in videos and stuff like that, I'm going to get around to it. I'm trying to get myself out of this hole because they don't have no answer for why I got it, so I have to keep working. So everybody else, passerbys and so forth, I want to thank everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe button. Do what you do, share it, whatever you got to do. I'm going to try to get back onto schedule, try to keep it going. I want to apologize for not doing so much. But again, before we get up out of here, I'm going to go ahead and let me do this. Let me do 1 and 2 again. Then we're going to play this going out. I got a little reading for you. And then we're going to go out on that. And again, peace, love, and hair grease and all that. Love, black. John Henry Clark said everything we got is just each other. See one another. Give everybody that universal nod. What's good, sister? What's good, brother? Because again, in the end, this is all we got. So, give me this one more time. Then we're going to do this, and then let's see what happened after that. So let's check it out. Check it out. Let's see what we're going to do. Exodus. Blacks fled the South in droves more than a century ago, seeking true freedom. You know I'm going to say that again. Exodus. Blacks fled the South in droves more than a century ago, seeking true freedom. This story was done March the 7th, 2019, coming from the USA Today. And this is how it reads. In the decade after the Civil War, former slaves in the South searched for a way out. They were sickened and exhausted by the racist terrorism that had followed emancipation. Though free from slavery, African Americans were routinely cheated, attacked, and killed by whites who tolerated them barely, if at all. Blacks who realized that Southern whites view them as basically units of labor insist that Negroes would have to leave the South. Historian Neil Irvin Painter wrote in her 1976 book, Exodus, Black Migration to Kansas After Reconstruction. So they left. The so-called Exodus moved west to Kansas. Some settled in cities like Topeka and Kansas City, and others established towns like Bogue and Nicodemus in the western parts of the state. By 1880, thousands had taken part in what historians call the first major migration of former slaves. This western exodus had been overlooked in many tellings of black history, but scholars are using it and other mass migrations to construct a new framework for studying black history and experiences. Moving beyond focusing only on slavery and its consequences, scholars have identified 13 distinct migrations that formed and transformed African America. according to the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, a division in the New York Public Library. Some are well known. The transatlantic and domestic slave trades are the largest of the migration and also the only ones that were involuntary. The Great Migration of the 20th century, the movement of blacks from the rural South to the cities of the North, is also a touchstone of popular history. Others are less often discussed. Haitian immigration to the United States in the late 1700s and early 1800s. The movement of free African Americans to the North in the 1840s, and immigration from Africa and the Caribbean since the 1970s. The voluntary migration demonstrated independence and a willingness to make choices for a better life. What scholars call agencies, that's actions, that's taking your life in your own hands, said Painter, a professional emeritus at Princeton. That's the very definition of agency. Sylvain Diouf, visiting professor at Brown University Center for the Study of Slavery and Justice, says studying migration compensates for a bias found in conventional depictions of black history. The slave trade, slavery emancipation, Jim Crow, and civil rights is mostly what has been done to African Americans. Diouf said, but when you look at history through migration, you see how people were agents of their own future. Diouf and Howard Dobson, director emeritus of the Schomburg Center, were the experts behind In Motion, a multimedia exhibit and research project on African American migration. The migration timeline starts in the 15th century with the transatlantic slave trade from 1492 to 1776. About 6.5 million people came to the Western Hemisphere. Only 1 million of them were Europeans. The rest were enslaved Africans. The transatlantic slave trade laid the foundation for modern capitalism, generating immense wealth for business enterprises in America and Europe. The exhibit says at the same time, the devastating effects in Africa paved the way for European colonization of the continent. Dobson says the slave trade also created a unique new world culture. A lot of people think about Africa as a country, but it's a continent with diverse ethnic, religious, and cultural groups. The population that was enslaved was drawn from all of these, Dobson said. In the context of the slave experience, they transformed into a new people, creating new languages, new religion, new forms of cultural expression. Most of the millions of slaves brought to the New World went to the Caribbean and South America. An estimated 500,000 were taken directly from Africa to North America. But those numbers were buttressed by the domestic slave trade, which started in the 1760s, a half century before legal importation of slaves ended. The domestic slave trade displaced about 1.2 million African Americans from the Upper South to the Deep South. Diouf said people from Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina were forced to go by foot and by train to the Deep South to develop cotton plantations. The impetus was the cotton gin, invented in 1794. Eli Whitney machine lowered production costs and helped make cotton fabric affordable. The increased demand led to the increased cultivation and created a plantation economy dependent on slave labor. Before Whitney's innovation, about 700,000 slaves lived in the South. By 1850, that population had soared to more than 3 million, according to the National History Education Clearinghouse. Emancipation after the Civil War brought the hope of freedom, but the reality was more oppression. Slavery, or slaves, prayed for freedom, and then they got it. Former slave Patsy Mitchner said in 1937, when interviewed for the Works Progress Administration's Oral History of Slavery, they was turned out with nowhere to go and nothing to live on. They had no experience in looking out for themselves and nothing to work with and no land. Technically, Mitchner was wrong. On January 16, 1865, General William T. Sherman issued a field order setting aside 400,000 acres in coastal Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida for the new freedmen. But that order was short-lived. President Andrew Johnson, a Confederate sympathizer, returned the property to plantation owners in 1865, just months after the assassination of his predecessor, Abraham Lincoln. Thus, another promise was given and broken. In fact, the only assets many former slaves had was their labor, Painter wrote in the Exoduster. They rented the land they worked, usually paying white landlords with a share of crop. The landlords kept the books, so the workers invariably came up short. In her book, Painter quotes a letter that a free slave from Texas, Jasper Arnold, wrote about his plight. We are hard-working people here and give huge rent and high rents and big interest. We work, and every year we just can't come out even, Arnold wrote in the governor of Kansas around 1879. Adding the violence visited upon free people and conditions were truly abominable. In fact, Painter began researching the circumstances of former slaves because she had a question. Why did people stay in such a horrible situation? The answer was they didn't, she said. The new freedmen initially headed west as the urging of recruiters like Benjamin Pap Singleton. He was born in slavery in 1809 in Nashville, Tennessee. When he was 37, he escaped and headed to Detroit. After the Civil War, he came back to Tennessee where he tried to help blacks buy land. When that failed, he traveled the South, organizing blacks to resettle in Kansas. He eventually headed west with 300 homesteaders in 1873. His colonies eventually faltered, but his effort flourished. As conditions in the South became more unbearable, blacks left by the thousands in a movement Harper's Magazine called the Great Negro Exodus. Because of Singleton's flyers, many blacks headed to Kansas, but they went north as well. In fact, so many left the South that a Senate committee investigated the matter. Conspiracy theorists at the time claimed Republicans were settling freedmen in states like Indiana and Kansas for political gain. But a minority report blamed the crisis on repressive Southern Democrats, while noting how leaders like Singleton organized efforts to give blacks a new start. Here then we have conclusive proof from the Negroes themselves that they had been preparing this movement for many years, the minority committee members wrote in 1879. Such mobilities place blacks in the center of the American experience, which looks to movements as symbolic of freedom and a means to start afresh. What was so devastating in slavery was the inability to move, given that we see lots of movements, Painter said. Americans are famously movers. Everywhere you look in American history, you find people on the move. That movement continues into the 21st century. Since 1970, more Africans have come directly to the United States than were brought here during the slave trade. According to the Pew Research Center, 1.6 million African immigrants lived in the United States in 2016. That's more than double the 547,000 who lived here in 2000. Dobson notes that migration is once again transforming not only the African American community, but the entire country. Migration is not simply a demographic phenomenon. It's cultural, it's political, it's economics. Our present changes the nature of the physical and cultural geography of the United States itself.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions.
behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything. Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, Definitely was not prepared for black people to in the end begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they've died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians, when Irish love Irish, but when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed, but white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here? Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information. to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to bits! You can't make me do anything like prick! Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.